doing, everyone? Nico Mar. I'm here with Jenny McKee. She is a health educator. She works at the University of Kansas. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Long day at work. Teaching those kids at PE can be stressful sometimes, but today was a good day. And tomorrow will be even better. And Friday is a PD day, so I'm looking forward to that as well. We can go ahead and jump right into this. So my first question for you that I would like to ask, so what is your education background and why did you choose that path?
So my educational background is a bachelor's degree in exercise science and a master's degree in community health education. I chose those avenues or those paths for my education. One, because I've always loved being physically active. For a little while, I did think about being a physical education teacher myself. But I found that even though I loved the exercise science content, I loved the classes I got to take, what I really wanted to do with my career was help people. And that's what we get to do with community health education. We get to take that information that we learn in exercise science and actually do outreach to community members.
Okay, that sounds really interesting. It sounds very rewarding as well. I remember when I was taking a class at KU, I learned a lot of things that I didn't even know, I've never even heard before. So I found it very helpful. I'm sure the students there find it helpful as well. Actually, one of my favorite classes that I remember taking. My next question for you. So why did you choose the University of Kansas for your current job?
You know, Aaron, I hear so many people going through their KU experience and they talk about their majors. And then usually the next follow-up question is, well, what are you going to do with that major? What can you do with an English degree or a philosophy degree? The cool thing about my job and my major is that I use my major and my educational background in my job every day. So I just feel really fortunate that I got to stay in this community. I'm not from Lawrence, but I have a high school age son now. And it's been an awesome place to live and raise a child, but also have access to everything a college town has to offer, like Lawrence. And I get to use my education in my job every day.
Well, thank you. So that actually leads into my next question. What is one rewarding thing about your job? I'm sure there's plenty, but if you could pick just one, what would that be?
Yeah. The most rewarding thing about my job is being able to educate people in avenues or pathways that they might not have had access to before coming to college. So, especially thinking about sexual health. Most people don't have access to sexual health education before they come to college, just because our country doesn't do a very good job of giving folks access to that information. So when I hear from a student that they've learned something new, or I've opened their minds a little bit to new information, I've broadened their horizons, that's a super rewarding part of my job.
Very nice. Yeah, I remember when I was going to grade school, they offered sex education, but I feel like they didn't really have those resources that they do now. So now I'm really interested to hear this next answer here. So what does a typical day look like from when you get to work until you get home?
Okay, so a lot happens before I get to work and after I get home, almost as much as what happens while I'm at work. I'm super fortunate to get to be a leader as a part of my team. And it's very important for me to make sure that the space here is welcoming and open, not just for the students that come and see us, but also for the other people on our team. I usually try to get here pretty early so I can do some administrative work, things like answering emails or taking care of phone calls, things that have come through overnight. And then after that, it's usually a combination of going to meetings, trying to problem solve situations. Setting aside time for creativity. A lot of work that we do is preparing for events and presentations, and those can't be the same week after week, year after year. Those have to be new and engaging for our students. So I have to have some space for creativity. I also do a lot of work with supervision. So I do have staff members that I supervise, and weekly I meet with each of them so we can talk through if they have through what they need in order to be successful and how I can serve them better. I also meet with my supervisor regularly to make sure that I'm getting what I need and the support that I need to get my job done. Let's see here. What am I leaving out? Oh, all kinds of events. So usually day to day, week to week, I'm up on campus giving those presentations and holding those events. So every day is a little bit different, but it's usually a combination of those things.
Okay, like how do you have so much energy at the end of the day? It sounds like a lot on your plate. Like how do you keep going? Because I know after my day in school, I'm completely drained, and all I want to do is like I just be knocked out on the bed. Like how do you keep going?
Well, let's not say that I'm not tired because I usually am. However, moving from my work environment to my home environment is incredibly energizing for me. As I mentioned, I have a son who's 15. He's in high school, and engaging with him, having conversations with him, definitely keeps me on my toes. I do try to take rest breaks during my day as much as possible. I believe that everyone could use a 10 to 15-minute nap or just time to close their eyes in the middle of the day. I think that that's incredibly restorative. And then either before or after work, I try to go for a run or do some kind of cardio, which actually gets me more energized than depletes my energy.
Wow, yeah, great advice. I was saying that's definitely true. I think it was me teaching PE. That's what I try to tell my students as well whenever they're feeling tired throughout the day. Um, so sounds like you got it down pat, got your energy. You know when they come from work, come home. I'm going to keep going. You have a lot to take care of, and I respect that you're able to like keep going and do the best for your students, for your colleagues, for everyone. But I do have one question. It's not on the format, but another question. So I heard so for what I was hearing when I was playing at KU, they didn't do this, but I'm hearing like before they had some kind of training for the athletes, like kind of like asking proper permission for women and for guys. Do you guys do that? Like, do health educators have to come and speak to the athletes about properly, like knowing what no means no, what yes is, getting proper permission? Do they do that now at KU?
Yeah, so actually, one thing that some of the health educator staff and I get to engage in is helping to teach a course called LDST 301, and it's about preventing gender-based violence. It only lasts 8 weeks, but throughout those 8 weeks, we talk about consent. We talk about what gender-based violence is and how to prevent it. And all KU student athletes have to take that class. So yes, we absolutely get to engage with that population and other populations. It's a critical part of what we do.
All right, thank you so much. My next question here, I'm very. So, what is the most awkward topic that you have to teach in your class? If there is any, I'm sure there have been some awkward conversations in the middle of those classes. Has there been anyone that stuck out to you?
So, Coach, I think where things get most awkward is when someone's views on a certain topic are so different than their classmates. So I think here at the University of Kansas, our students are fairly progressive and inclusive. And so when someone comes to class and has somewhat antiquated views on gender roles or sexuality or what a healthy relationship looks like, and their peers call them out on that, things do get a little bit awkward. That being
Mhm.
said, I think that's when those students actually have the most moments of growth. When they hear their peers push back and say, that's not how we operate, or that's not how we think, that's way more effective than if I were to say that to a student.
Oh yeah, but just like I know that like for my PE classes, sometimes I stopped doing it now, but sometimes what I would do to divide the teams, I would say, okay, boys here, girls here. You can't I avoid doing that now because I have some students who identify as being a boy, but the students think it's a girl and vice versa. So I'm just like, I'm sure you've had like situations like that where students, you brought up topics that students thought were like maybe uncomfortable, or they felt uncomfortable when you were teaching that topic. Has it ever happened in class? And if so, how did you address that?
So, how do I address topics that might be uncomfortable in class?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's been students who, when you were teaching, that made them really uneasy and uncomfortable. Maybe did they ever come and speak to you after class, or did you just address it right there? So how did you handle that?
So, that's a fantastic question. And what I do and I just did this today because I was working with a group of students who we hadn't had a conversation that was super uncomfortable up to this point, but we were going to be discussing some themes that were maybe going to add some discomfort. And so what I do right off the bat is before class even starts, I write a message to them on the Blackboard site, just make an announcement and just cut things off at the pass and let them know this is what we're going to be addressing. This might cause some discomfort for you. And that's okay. When you're uncomfortable, it usually means you're learning. If you start experiencing pain, however, let's talk about how you can learn this topic on your own or without being in class. Now, very frequently, at the beginning of class, when I'm going to be talking about something that's kind of sensitive in nature, or I get the feeling that class is uneasy or a certain number of people are uneasy, I'll bring it up then as well, just to say, hey, it's okay to be uncomfortable. Everyone is going to feel a little bit weird talking about that, and that's okay. Almost always I have people stay after class and want to ask other questions. And what I find is that people just want to know that they're normal. Is it normal for me to feel weird? Is it normal that I have some weird feelings about learning this? And almost always the answer to that question is yes.
Yeah.
For the most part, everyone, falls in the realm of normalcy when they're discussing sensitive topics with people that they might not know or even like very much.
Oh yeah, no, I bet. But I'm sure you handle those situations great with easy. But for my final question for you for today, so we're having a pandemic right now. How has COVID impacted your day to day?
That's a really good question. And it's changed over the past, 18 or so months. Last March, so March 2019, my staff and I were sent home to work remotely, and we only started coming back to work on a regular basis at the beginning of August. So I worked remotely for a good 16 months. Now that I'm back in the office, COVID has actually impacted my day-to-day even more so. Here in my office all the time, I'm normally wearing a mask. I've got my office door closed, so I don't have to right now. But the way that I'm engaging with students has definitely changed. It's so hard to engage with people behind masks. I think it's easier to do it this way via Zoom or video conference or face to face. You have to be so far away from people, and you aren't able to see people's facial expressions as much with the mask. That being said, we do far less large scale events because it's just not safe. We only want to participate in those kinds of activities when we can ensure that all of our participants are as safe and healthy as possible.
Oh yeah, it must be. I know in my class, the numbers were rising, and we have maybe 20 plus students in the class. We all have to wear masks. You have to remind them constantly, hey, make sure your mask is above your nose and mouth. So for college classes, I can't imagine. Do you have are all the students back on campus now, or are they still they? I know they did. Like sometimes they do like half online, half in person. Is it something like that, or are all the students back in the building?
So last year, we had far more classes that were being offered in a hybrid capacity. Right now, almost all classes are fully in person. And I think the benefit of working with college age students is that they're much more likely to be responsible about making sure that their mask is covering their nose and mouth.
Mhm.
A lot of our students are just really excited to be back on campus and to be fully in person. And so they're more likely to follow those rules and to stay as safe and healthy as possible. That being said, I have students every day that email me or call me to let me know that they are not going to be there because if they're getting sick again.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, we had students that had to be quarantined because maybe they feel sick, or maybe they were exposed to someone who had COVID, maybe a family member or a friend, and they had to be quarantined for about a week or so. But yeah, I can't imagine. It's not the same as being in person. I mean, I would rather do it online personally, like you. But yeah, but seeing someone with a mask on all day. Sometimes it's hard for me to breathe, having to wear it all day long. That's why for PE, I get to go outside, I get to take it off, so that's beneficial. But yeah, it must be a constant. It must be stressful at times.